In this video, we will learn how to achieve the singleton design pattern. The singleton design pattern means singleton design pattern ensures that only single object gets created. So if we try to create a new object, before creating the object, it verifies whether object is available. If object is not available, then it creates a new object. Otherwise, it returns the an existing object. That is called the singleton design pattern. So singleton design pattern means only one object creation. So more than one object, this particular design pattern never allowed to create it. So the singleton design pattern will discuss in two approaches. One, for without applying the singleton design pattern, how the class behaves. That one we need to learn. After applying the singleton design pattern, what can be the behavior of the class? The two things we need to discuss. So in order to discuss about these two things, so first we need to open the IntelliJ IDE. And we will create a new project. Either you can use the existing project or you can create a new project. In our case, we can create a new project. So by default, it is allowing us to create a Maven project. You can create a Java project or Kotlin, Groovy, anything. But in this example, we'll try to create a Maven project. The name of the project is demo project, and we can create this particular project in a specific location. Currently, by default, it is selected as the C drive, automation backup folders. Under backup folders, there is a workspace called Java program workspace. Either you can create the project in the same location, or you can browse and you can use a different location. Okay, and afterwards JDK by default it is showing as a 17. And next one called catalog internal by default. The archetype, we need to create archetype as Maven archetype quick start. So this is called the Maven archetype quick start. The current version, the version we are changing is the 1.4. So afterwards we need to expand the advanced settings. So group ID is com.edg testing, and next one called artifact ID is demo project. The artifact ID is always similar to the project name, and currently it is showing the snapshot version. So after providing all the details, click on create button. It creates the Maven project. So currently it was loading the Maven project now. So it is resolving Maven dependencies. So it takes some time to load the Maven project, and it is downloading the plugins and it's downloading the dependencies. It takes some time. Once after loading the Maven project completely, we can just scroll down. There is a section called properties in the pom.xml file. In the properties section, the compiler source and as well as target is by default is 1.7. We should change it as a 1.8. Okay, we can save this particular changes. Once after done this particular changes, we can go to src. So it has a two navigation, main and test. So currently we can expand the test. We can create a new package. The new package is Singleton. So in the Singleton, we need to create a first source file without Singleton design pattern. So without Singleton design pattern, so how it works, we'll see now. PSVM means it provides public static void main, and we have a class called mass1. the class called mass1. We can minimize this console window. So now we can write a method void addition. We can pass two parameter. Integer parameter we can pass it x plus y, and now we can print the result addition result. Similar way we can write one more instance method multiplication. You can write any method. Just for our example purpose we are writing some basic methods called addition and multiplication method we are writing now. Again we can create one variable because in order to store the result, so again we can print the result multiplication result, that is the result. So once after writing the addition and as well as the multiplication instance method, we will run these two methods. In order to run these methods, object is required. So we can create an object in a main class main method. O1 is equal to new mass1. So currently O1 dot addition. So we can supply the value 120, 50. Again multiplication. We can supply the value 14, 10. And again we are creating a one more object, new mass1. So O2 dot addition. So we'll provide 40, 50. We can supply the different parameters in order to get the result. So now 11, 10. So we can create one more object. So O3 dot addition. So addition we can provide 120, or you can provide 30, 50. We can provide any value. Multiplication I would like to provide 15, 20. Yes, we have created in this particular program. We will observe. Okay, first the class name called mass1. It has a two instance method. So in order to run these two methods, we have created an object1, and we are accessing the method called addition and multiplication, and we have provided the different input. Similarly, we created an object2, and we are accessing the same method, and we are providing the input. Similarly, we have created an object3, and we are accessing the same method, and we are providing the different input. We can run now. It provides the appropriate, depending upon the input, it provides the result. It is a simple example only. But if we can have an observation on this particular setup class, so what we can able to understand means whether O2 and O3 are really required. Not required, because without creation of object O2 and O3, you can call n number of times addition method. I can supply the different input. You can call n number of times multiplication method and supply the different input, and you can achieve. So in this case, we have created unnecessarily multiple object. So in this way, even if we can create a 1000 also, yes, it is allowing us to create. It is the default behavior of our class. Our class never provide any objection card. We should not create an object, multiple object. So we can, by default, we can create n number of object. If we can create a n number of object, unnecessarily, there are a lot of objects will be created in a heap memory. So it consumes more memory. So what can be the solution? Now, the solution is nothing but the singleton design pattern. So the name itself is indicates single objects will get created. So it never allowed to create more than one object. So again, if you try to create a new object, before creating it, it verifies whether object is available. If object is not available, then it creates a new object. Otherwise, it returns the existing object. So that mechanism we need to apply. So how we can able to apply this particular mechanism means, so we can discuss now how to apply singleton design pattern. Yes, we can discuss about this particular one. So in order to achieve singleton design pattern, we can try to create a new class now. Yes, we can create a new Java class singleton design pattern demo. Yes, we created a new class. This class contains main method psvm. Yes, we can create a main method and we can create one class mass. So instead of copy pasting, we can type the method directly. Void addition. We can write the same method only. Int x comma int y. So the local variable we need to create int result is equal to x plus y, and we can print the result. Addition result is result. Yes, we have achieved. We have created a method called addition method. Otherwise, you can copy directly from the previous source file. That also acceptable. Multiplication int x comma int y. Int result is equal to x star y. S out multiplication result. So again you can substitute the variable. So currently this class mass also contains one method called addition method, another method called multiplication. So there are two methods are available. So now in order to run these two methods, yes, we need to create an object. Mass o1 is equal to new mass1 mass, because it is a separate class. O1 dot addition is provide the different value 40, 50, and O1 dot multiplication you can provide 12, 10. You can pass a different input. So I would like to create one more object. So based on the object, again I would like to access some value. So again I would like to create one more object. So now we can O3 dot multiplication 15, 20. Yes, you can provide any input. So again I would like to run depending upon your input. For addition or multiplication method, it provides the corresponding result. Yes, it was providing the corresponding result. So now for this particular class, not for the before class, for this particular class, we will apply the singleton design pattern. So the first step, how to apply the singleton design pattern, see carefully observe, it allowing us to create object 1 and object 2 and object 3 in these three lines. In this way, you can create thousand also n number of objects we can able to create. So first step 1, create private constructor. Create private constructor in a class. So what is the purpose we need to create a private constructor? So as we aware about, the private members of the class cannot be accessible outside of the class. Yes, we are aware about this particular one. So that's the reason if we can create a private constructor, we can't able to create an object here. Okay, currently it was using default constructor now. As soon as if we can create a private constructor explicitly in a class, so there won't be any involvement of default constructor. It becomes a no arrays constructor only. So we need to create a private no arrays constructor. We need to create private what type of constructor? It is a no args constructor. We need to create. Yes, we can create a private no args constructor. The constructor name always should be same as class name. So just you don't need to write anything. It is a private. Just I am written a comment. I just indicate that it is a private no arrays constructor. As soon as we can create a constructor, immediately our class main class in main method start providing the compilation error because it's not able to access constructor. Okay, which constructor? Private constructor, which is available in a mass class. So what we should do? So because we desperately need object, because addition is a instance method and multiplication is a instance method. In order to run these two instance method, we must create an object. But currently we have applying the constraint, and on constraint in this way we can't able to create an object. Then how we can able to create an object to run our instance method? For that purpose we have to achieve the step 2. Step 2, create a static method. That method should return same class object. So that method has to return the same class object. So we'll see now. We can try to implement the step 2. So in the same class, what is the purpose here? What is the reason we need to write a static method? The main reason for static method, the static methods are at class level. So based on the class name dot method name, we can able to access. So we can write a static method now. Public static. Currently, this method should return same class object, which is the class mass. So it should return the same class object. It has to be written. Get instance. So you can provide any name for the method. Currently, I provided the name for the method as a get instance. Now we can create an object now. Mass obj is equal to new. The corresponding class name we can write it. Now the object we should return, and wherever the line number 29 and 33 and as well as 37, we should require an object. So how we can able to call the object? So we should call the object in this way. Instead of using new operator, class name dot, we can access the static method, because this method is returning the object. You no need to comment. I'm sorry. Copy the same line and paste in the remaining places also. So now we can save now. So once after saving, again we can run now because we are applied the step 2 and now it was providing the same result. So one question arises, have we achieved okay singleton design pattern? How we can able to make sure? We will write an if condition. If O1 is equal to O2 and O2 equal to O3, S out design pattern achieved successfully. Singleton design pattern achieved successfully. Otherwise, else the singleton design pattern has not achieved successfully. So what is the reason behind we need to provide O1, O2, O1 is equal to O2? The reason is in this way. It was describing in this way. If you try to create a new object, before creating the new object, it verifies whether object is available. If object is not available, it creates a new object. Otherwise, it returns the same object. So, if we are achieving the singleton design pattern means get instance what the object it was returning O1 and in this position O2 and in this position O3, all objects must be having the same reference only. So that's the reason we are checking this particular reference. So again we can run and we can verify whether they're having the same reference. So they're telling, so they never be having the same reference. So why it's telling has not achieved successfully. So what is the reason behind? When you can start investigating in get instance method we are separately creating object. Suppose if we can execute get instance for method for n number of times, here also it creates n number of object and here also it returns n number of object. So for us what we are expecting? We are expecting only one object. So what we should do? We can apply step 3. So we should apply a condition. So what type of condition? So the it verifies whether it verifies whether object is available. If object is not available, then it should create a object. If object is not available, it should create a new object. Otherwise, it should return an existing object. That mechanism we need to include. Okay, we should apply the condition in such a way that it verifies whether object is available. It has to be verified because it has to make sure that whether object is null or not. If null means if object is not available, then it has to create a new object. If object is already available, it means if the reference variable is not null, it means that it indicates object has created, then it has to return the existing object. That particular condition we need to apply. So how we can able to apply? For that purpose, we need to go with the static mass obj is equal to null. What is the purpose? This reference variable for the mass class, we can make it as a static. The reason is in this way, this reference variable we would like to use within the get instance method. Get instance is which one? Static method. So if it is an instance, we can't able to access directly. In order to access which is required, again one more object is required. So for this purpose, we made this reference variable as a static. So now we can write the condition now. If obj equal to null, so what it's supposed to do? It has to allocate the memory for the respective object. If it is not null, it indicates what? The memory is already allocated for the object. So in this case, it won't satisfy this condition. Directly it will be written the existing object. So now we have applied the which one means the condition we have applied. So now we have made it as a 100% singleton concept only. Yes, based on the step 1, we have created a private nores constructor and afterwards we have written a static method. The method is returning the same class object. Third one, we have applied a condition in such a way that it is going to verify if the reference variable is null, then only it is allocating the memory. Otherwise, it returns the existing object as it is. So now, after achieving the The three steps now we can run now to make sure whether we have achieved singleton properly or not. Yes, now it is telling yes we have achieved singleton design pattern properly. So the all three reference variable, which one, O1 and O2 and as well as O3, all are referring to which one, same object. So that's the reason we are getting the output as the singleton design pattern has achieved successfully. Okay, thank you.